This is a subject, typically when we talk about du'as and the acceptance of du'as, we talk about the deeds that cause du'as to not be answered, right? The deeds that cause our du'as to not be answered and the deeds that cause trials, bala, to descend upon us. And there are numerous ahadith in that regard and sayings and traditions that we can find from the Prophet ﷺ and from the Salaf and from the pious predecessors. Of course, the most famous one where the Prophet ﷺ mentions to us a person who goes out and calls out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in desperation, says, Ya Rab, oh my Lord, but his food is prohibited, his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothes are haram, he's sustained in haram, فَأَنَّا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ. The Prophet ﷺ said, on what basis is this person to be responded to? So that is a hadith that is frequently quoted for good reason. Because we have to make sure that as we call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ, that we also answer the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want Allah to persist in doing the things, Imam Ahmad rahimahullah says, if you want Allah to persist in doing the things that you ask Him to do, then persist in doing the things that He commands you to do. So this is a very important concept, and we cannot emphasize this enough. I was thinking about the other side of this, and this is what I want to talk about inshallah ta'ala tonight, which is what causes our dua to be answered. What are the deeds that cause our dua to be answered? Of course, there are certain things that we say in our duas that cause them to be answered. There is sincerity, which is the essential ingredient to everything that we do, not just dua that would cause it to be accepted inshallah ta'ala, but what is it that we can do in terms of deeds that cause our du'as to be answered, just like we avoid deeds that cause our du'as to be rejected. And there's a famous hadith that meant a lot to me particularly after I heard a way that a great scholar had interacted with this hadith. And it's the hadith about three men that go to a cave, and then a huge boulder covers the entrance to that cave, and they're stuck in that cave. So the Prophet ﷺ says, all three of them came together and they said, call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a deed that you did only for His sake, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may grant us relief. So all three of them come together and they offer a deed that they did only for Allah's sake as a means of having their dua answered. And so the first person calls out and he mentions how he used to take milk to his parents every single night. He would go out, he would work, he would milk what he had, and then he would take that milk to his parents before he would even go to his own family, to his own children. He would always go to his parents first. And this is, of course, a crucial lesson in the honor of the parents, something that, we've been trying to stress over the last few weeks in particular. So he would go to his parents every single night, and he would serve the milk, and they'd be waiting for him to arrive so that he could serve them that milk. But this time in particular, when he got to the house, they were sleeping. So what did he do? He didn't want to disturb them. He stood with the bowl of milk next to their bedside while they slept. He let them sleep in peace. His children wanted that milk. Others wanted that milk. He waited for his parents, as he always did, to serve them first. And once they woke up, he gave them that milk. And he said, "Oh Allah, if you know that I did this only for your sake," and this is the common thing that all three of them are going to say in some version, "In kunta ta'lamu anni fa'altuhu ibtigha'a wajhik," if you know that I did this seeking your pleasure, then relieve us of this hardship. Okay, give us relief from this hardship. And so he calls out to Allah with that, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes the boulder to move.